Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Mritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Mritam Gamaya Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormam Mritam Gamaya.
I welcome you all to webinar session Smart Parenting from iLead Global Preschool. We have been doing this popular program for parents of preschoolers who have been with us. Because of this pandemic, we thought of sharing this with a larger group of parents. When we are compelled to conduct this program, lot of encouragement and request came from not only from Bangalore, but other parts of the globe also. Thanks to technology, we are able to share our experience in graduating over 1,000 children in our preschool. iLead Global Preschool has 3 branches in Bangalore: Hongsandra, Arikere, BG. Our director, Dr. Kirtana Balakur, is a qualified medical professional with a passion for education. So, I welcome all parents to this meeting. I also extend a hearty welcome to today's speaker, Dr. Kirtana Balakur. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today with us, I have Dr. Vinuta Kulkarni as a panelist. She has done her MBBS and MS in ophthalmology. Currently, she is a faculty at Shekhar Eye Hospital, a reputed eye hospital at JP Nagar. Doctor is well experienced with screen time issues both in children and adult. I welcome you too, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear parents, take this opportunity to put forward your queries related to smart parenting. We will attend to these questions in these sessions or in the subsequent sessions. Please use the icon Q&A at the bottom of the webinar. We also go live on YouTube. YouTube for last sessions are also available for those who have missed. In this session, we are going to cover 2 topics. We will have 4 sessions totally on every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This was a briefing about our smart parenting session. So today, our speaker is passionate educationist and a qualified medical professional with masters in psychiatry from a prestigious AII, Indian Institute of Medical Science. She is known for her contribution towards the development and nurturing of many tiny tots who are the future generation. She has strong belief in mentoring and molding of young children. She is the director of iLead Global Preschools. Over 1,000 children have been groomed in ILGP till now. She strongly believes in importance of good parenting and nurturing of young children in their overall development as a successful individual. She has a humble personality for which our little champs and parents adore her. These are very few mentions about her. Ma'am, it's over to you.
Thank you, Shakti. Today, we will discuss the impact of screen time on development of children and guidelines on the screen time. So first, to parents who are unfamiliar with screen time. Let's see what is this screen time. So what is screen time? Screen time is basically the time spent by someone, adult or child, using their smartphone, iPad, laptops, computer, mobile, or playing video games or watching TV. All this is included under screen time. Now, screen time has positive and negative impact on adults and children. But in young children, in preschoolers who are 6 years and younger, it has a developmental impact on their development. So what are some, Dr. Dimitri Christanov, he's a pediatrician who has done research on effect of screen time. So let us watch a small video presentation by Dr. Dimitri Christanov.
The typical child before the age of 5 is watching about 4.5 hours of TV a day. But I will show you a random 20-second clip from Baby Einstein Day on the Farm, and here it is. In that 20-second clip, there were 7 scene changes, about 1 every 3 seconds. So you watch enough Baby Einstein Day on the Farm as a baby, and when you go to a farm as a school-age child, it's boring. It's too slow. How come there's no sheep suddenly popping into my face? How come there's no marionette going back and forth? Why do I have to walk from here to there? That's the general idea, that you're conditioning the mind to that reality, which doesn't actually exist. And what we found was that the more television children watched before age 3, the more likely they were to actually have attentional problems at school age. Specifically, for each hour that they watched before the age of 3, their chances of having attentional problems was increased by about 10%. So a child who watched 2 hours of TV a day before the age of 3 would be 20% more likely to have attention problems compared to a child who watched none. Entertainment programs like the Powerpuff Girls movie increase the chances by about 60%, and violent programming, which I didn't show you, increases it even by more than 100%, and violent programs are typically even more rapidly sequenced.
This is, in short, problems caused by, one of the problems caused by watching TV or television or a smartphone or media at a young age. There are several other problems which can be caused by watching, by having more screen time at a young age. And one of them is language. Language development gets delayed. Increased screen time is directly linked to delayed language acquisition and academic challenges in later life. Also, fine motor skills. Child does not develop fine motor skills. He develops very slowly because like grasping, cutting, handwriting, tying shoes, because a lot of time, child's time is spent in watching mobile or TV, then they do not do these activities which normally involve using the small muscles of hand. Even cognitive development gets delayed, and physical development also gets delayed because of increased screen time. And there is solid evidence for all of these. It also causes sleep and behavioral disturbances. So now, coming to how do we handle this? So there's solid evidence for negative consequences of having increased screen time. So American Association of Pediatrics, they have given some guidelines for screen time depending on the age of the child. So what have they told is under 2 years of age, they have told there shouldn't be any screen time, no screen time. Under 2 years, children should not watch TV or use mobiles, except they can only for video chats if it's essential. Otherwise, there is no screen time recommended for them because it's quite detrimental for their development. 2 to 5 years of age, under 6 years of age, they can watch up to 1 hour of screen time per day, but it should be high quality programming. It should not be, the content should be also supervised, and it should be good content, high quality programming. And above 6 years of age, they recommend about 2 hours or so of screen time, but they have let parents decide what is okay for their child up to 12 years of age. So these are the guidelines for screen time. Now, I'll just give you some tips for healthy media use in children. These tips are for you parents. So first tip would be that you should model healthy electronic use. If you keep watching TV for more than 3-4 hours, then children are also likely to do that. If you binge on Netflix, that sets a bad example. And if you have TV running on the background, or if you keep scrolling your phone every minute, checking WhatsApp, Facebook, then definitely that also sets a bad example for your children. So reduce your own screen time. That will help out the children. Next thing would be to keep minimal electronic gadgets in your house. So if you have a lot of notebooks, laptops, mobile phones, 4 mobile phones in the house, then it's more likely your children will keep using. So restrict the number of electronic gadgets in your house, restrict the number of televisions you have in your house. So if you restrict that, that will benefit your kids. Obtain passwords. When your children grow up, obtain their passwords for social media and set rules on services and social media and services which your child will participate. Now for this, it's important that you parents also need to get little electronic savvy. So please get little savvy in electronics. See the ratings of the programs what your children watch, whether they're rated on violence and sexual content. So see if they're appropriate for children, and only then allow them to watch. When they grow up, you have to see which social media they're going to be on and whether it's okay and how long. Don't allow them on all the social media, and have controls over the content and time what your of TV or internet time for children. It's important to keep certain places in the house as tech-free zones, like the dining table where nobody, either parents or children, TV and mobile is not allowed at all. So that's a tech-free zone. Even bedrooms can be tech-free zones. Teach them also about the dangers of increased screen time. If you teach kids who understand that it is not healthy to watch too much TV, are less likely to break rules than those kids who think that their parents are mean and they are not allowing them to watch. And also it's important to educate them about ads and commercial. Children of young age think whatever is said in the ad is true, but it is important to tell them that whatever content of the ads and commercial is not truth, and that they also do that to sell, for selling their products. So it may not be fully true. So let them, ask them to think and analyze what they say is true. Even the stories, what they watch, movies, what they watch, whether that is true or not true. Because up to 5 or 6 years of age, children have a fine line between imagination and reality. And after that, they get to know that some things are imagination and some things are reality. And involve your child in activities which do not use technology. So if you give a lot of time, if you give them ideas about activities which do not involve technology, then they are less likely to go and watch TV. But if they have nothing else to do, then they will watch. So keep a lot of board games, keep blogs, depending on their age of the child, engage them in different hobbies, music, dance, chess, board games. There's so many things which can be done. If they can go outdoor, do cycling, outdoor games are also to be encouraged. They can also develop hobbies like reading a book, painting, gardening, taking care of a pet, and make screen time a privilege. It should not be a right. And as far as possible, don't use screen time as a reward. Also, don't use screen time as an emotional pacifier. So it should not be made a habit. If they're feeling sad, they put the TV on and they start watching. So rather encourage them how to handle these emotions and practice mindfulness, how to manage boredom, problem solving skills, and skills for channeling the emotions. When they are teenagers, their screen time might be increased and they will start using social media, and you cannot restrict them on the social media because they have to explore and discover more about themselves and their place in the grown-up world. So teenagers, but you have to tell them about privacy and even remind them that a platform's privacy settings need not mean that whatever content they post on a social media is going to be private. It always leaves digital footprint in the internet. So tell them not to indiscriminately share images or photos or text messages. Also make your children savvy about the danger of cyberbullying, cyber predators, and sexting. And remember, kids will be kids. In case they make mistakes, keep your communication lines open. Always tell them they can seek your help if they are into trouble. So don't scold them, keep channels open, and encourage your child to keep the channels of communication open. In case you need a professional help, you can always seek professional help. So now just quickly, I will tell you key takeaways so that it will help you and register. Some key takeaways would be for developing a healthy media use, model healthy electronic, limit time screen, have tech-free zones, no media in bedroom, educate your child about the dangers of too much of screen time, and you yourself get tech savvy, enable built-in restrictions or use third-party solutions like Circle with Disney to make your device age appropriate, and keep passwords of your child's social media with you and reduce your child's expectation of a screen time, and encourage them to think critically what they view on screen. Avoid using background media while doing homework. Help your child develop media-free hobbies and teach teenagers appropriate media behavior. Change house rules as they grow. Cut down on TV or cable if completely, if possible. So these are some of the tips and guidelines for healthy media use. Now, I think we have Dr. Vinuta. Maybe she will give us a few tips on how to take care of eyes while watching, having screen time. So, Dr. Vinuta? Dr. Vinuta?
Yes, ma'am. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Kirtana, ma'am, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this wonderful initiative, which is addressing, I think, most challenging thing in this lockdown, especially. So I would like to first extend my thanks. And as ma'am spoke about most of the effect of screen time in overall as an ophthalmologist, so we in Shekhar Eye Hospital see many patients or many parents especially who are anxious about their screen timing and do come up with many of their doubts or and they're very anxious about how it affects their eye health. So basically in the eyes, as it affects maybe in children or adults, definitely the computers or the screen timing, especially, which includes all TV, tablets or computers, laptops, mobiles especially. So it is definitely going to cause a lot of harmful effects in eyes. Especially coming to kids, I would like to discuss two things. One is it may have a structural impact, and the other one is a functional impact. In the structural damage which it is going to cause is, one is the blue light, whatever is being emitted, which are very short wavelengths and with a high energy wavelengths, that is going to affect the various structures of the eye. It may be an ocular surface, and there are various researchers which they have said that it will, these blue light, especially the short wavelengths, is going to cause very damage to the very sensitive layer which is present in the eyes, that is retina. We call it as retinal pigment epithelium. So basically it will cause a structural damage to the various structures of the eye. Along with that, it is also going to cause a functional impact. So with both these impacts together, the kids will definitely have various harmful effects. So may it be various symptoms such as asthenotic features or asthenotic symptoms we tell. This is basically a headache or eye ache, irritation, burning sensations. So all these ocular surface or outer structure of the eye which is going to be affected. So all these structural symptoms which may manifest as excessive headache, especially eye strain. So if the kids have a lot of screen time, so they may they will naturally blink less. So as they go out with full concentration watching the screens, they come up with less blinking, which is known to cause the tear film instability in kids. So as kids, definitely they are more prone and the harm is more when compared to adults. So it is going to cause tear film instability, which may manifest as different things such as burning sensation, dryness, excessive dryness in kids as well. We do see more commonly such things in computer, we call it as a computer vision syndrome, which is affecting most of the adults now. But since the screen time is equally more in kids, may it be due to school, ongoing classes, online classes, or as a recreational whatever activity they do. So they are more prone for these asthenotic features, which may come as headache, eye ache, irritation, and dryness. Along with this, so there are few studies, the refractive errors, whatever we tell, most of the parents are very anxious that does excessive screen time will cause increase in number, or will it get him spectacles, or will he get a refractive error. So functionally, actually, there are very few studies which directly correlate to this refractive error and screen timing. But definitely the screen timings, there are few studies which has shown that the increase in screen time is known to affect the environmental, acts as an environmental factor in causing progression of myopia, whatever nearsightedness we call. So that such refractive errors are going to increase or maybe accelerate in kids who have excessive screen time, or it may act as an environmental factor which is causing them more progression to these refractive errors. So naturally, as a refractive error increases, there are more prone for other complications which is related to high refractive errors. Apart from this, they're also going to have various muscle imbalances because there is increased demand for the muscles to act when they look into the near work activities, and that too with so much of focus. Or we'll have seen that when kids start playing and all, they are like into it 100% giving attention. So this constant activity, especially the high movement of images, speedy movements in the video, is known to cause functional imbalance in the eye muscles also. So as with any other muscles, there are a few eye muscles which are put at more strain. So taking it further, when there are so many eye muscle imbalance, they may gradually or they may eventually end up in various, we call it as strabismus or squint eyes as well. So keeping all these in side effects of screen time on eye health, as an ophthalmologist in Shekhar Eye Hospital, we recommend all the patients coming to our hospital, at least get your kids once a year for a routine checkup, because adults may speak up whatever difficulties they have. Kids, most of the time, they won't speak up. They are not intelligent enough to tell what they feel. Other part of that, if they may be scared that if they tell they have eye problems, the automatically parents will stop giving them gadgets and all. So they are scared for that also. So both together, they may not be that open up to tell what they really go through. But eye health is definitely important. So basic one thing is get all your kids for a routine regular eye checkup at least once a year. Now it is very good that most of the schools are doing these activities where they do regular eye examination. So even if schools doesn't do, parents should come up with these keeping a track of regular eye examination. Along with that, so whenever as a screen time may not be always recreational, as now there are online classes going on and all. So one best thing we would like to recommend is make sure you tell your kid that there is something called as blinking and it is must. So most of the time they'll be not aware that they are blinking less. So they need to understand the importance of blinking. So as and when they are on their classes or something, you can tell them about frequent blinking. You can remind them that you need to blink well. So that is how it takes care of the overall tear flow. Apart from this, they can also take a minimum break of around 20 seconds, at least to 20 minutes when they are watching. So I think most of the schools also based on like even if we take the concentration or focusing ability will not last longer. So in those times, every 20 minutes or so, the parents can put a word that they have to take a break of 20 seconds. That 20 seconds may be completely closing their eyes or looking far, maybe at some garden or outside, just to make them blink well. So these are all few things which they can take up while watching or while they are into this screen time. Apart from that, any moderate, any activities, if you notice that the kid is usually going to the screens far near than how it used to behave, like the kids may hold their mobile very near, or they may go to the TV very near, or they may find them continuously watering in their eyes. So, or sometimes they squeeze their eyes and they are looking into TVs or something. That is when you have to suspect that they might have some vision problem as well. So then you can get to any ophthalmologist, get a complete evaluation done, which will help in detecting any refractive errors at the early stage and help in kid treating for that. So these are few tips or a few precautions that you can take whenever while concerned to eye health and the screen time. So this is just eye health is a part, eye damage is a part of the many big damage that is being done due to screen time. And as ma'am has spoken, there are many things else also being affected. But the eyes are directly a concern. So make sure your kids get a regular routine eye examination at least once in a year. Thank you, ma'am.
That was a wonderful session, Dr. Vinita ma'am.
Thank you.
Very informative. I like the way you actually explained about so many things connected with the medical and the screen time and children. Thank you so much. We have got few questions also coming in.
Yeah.
And it will be nice if you could answer them live.
Sure.
One of the question is, ma'am, does books and screen has same effect? It's true that screen has moving objects, but when we were kids, we were told keeping books very near while reading affects the eyes.
Yeah. So it has some two questions. So firstly, I would like to tell that screen time is not, reading book is not as dangerous as reading a book, because as I told, all these screens come with a emitting of blue, something called as blue light. So these blue light have a shorter wavelength with a high energy. So this is where it causes damage. It causes a different glare in our eyes, which is going to affect our ocular surface. And as I mentioned, some sensitive layers, sensitive structures in our eye. So reading a book on the counterpart, it is not going to have any such short wavelength or any such rays. Yes, practicing or how you read, the way you hold your book or how you read, definitely it is going to matter. It may be a book or any other screens. It should be at least around 30 to 40 centimeters away from your eyes. So that is where the normal reading capacity is. If you get it more closer, it is going to cause imbalance in the eye muscles. So that is one thing. So along with that, whenever the kid is reading a book also, definitely the surrounding light and at what intensity it is reading, surrounding light will matter a lot. If the kid or is encouraged to see screens or reading in a dim low light, it is going to cause more harmful effects. So in any day, reading a book is better than screen or reading on screens. And also reading a book should always be in a better environment with a good illumination, good light. So with a dark print. So that would be a recommended practice.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That was nice. I think the parent got the point very well and clear. We have got one more question for Dr. Vinita,
Yeah.
ma'am. Is there a specific safe distance to be maintained by children as the online classes are going on?
Yeah.
Should we maintain the distance while sitting or in front of TV, mobile, or laptop?
Okay. So this gets us to one important point, which will highlight how to use all the screens. So definitely, I think nowadays all the online screens, online classes are must, and the best practice would be to have them at a better environmental place. So maybe one thing, there are few recommendations whenever you're using screens also. The same recommendations we do tell to all the techies also who come to us with various computer vision syndrome or many other problems. So they need to keep the screens, as I mentioned for the previous question, they need to keep it at around 35 to 40 centimeters at least. So the distance between the eyes and the screen should be that much. And the screen should be placed in such a way that it is in direct contact with the eyes, so that there is more dispersion of the blue light and there is less impact. So and also it will also prevent the kids or the adults also to having other problems such as maybe neck issues, spine issues, or seating with so all these things are also taken care. So whenever a kid is watching, it is made to watch. So keep the screens such that 40 centimeters away from the eye, and preferably at a height directly into their eye, so that the kid doesn't have to look up or down. So if they keep looking up or down, so that will cause a continuous stress on the eye muscles. So they are more prone to have eye strain at the end of their sessions also. So these are few recommendations how you can set up your screens or laptops for kids to be more useful or less harmful also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I have got one question.
You.
I'm not sure whether this question goes to Dr. Kirtana ma'am or Dr. Vinita ma'am. So you can choose.
Sure.
How many minutes do you recommend of TV time?
Okay.
I think this is some kid giving us this question.
Yeah. Thank God they're not asked which shows we should watch. So we are
making sure that TV time is there.
Yeah, TV time is there. So I think ma'am has covered about the screen time. The screen time includes all the gadgets as I spoke, TVs and all. So I think ma'am has already covered, and the recommendations are same.
See, as I told, under 2 years, it's best not to watch the child to watch TV. They should not watch. You know, it's good that parents spend time with their child, talking and interacting. It has been seen that a mother who has background TV, who keeps watching TV, she interacts, and in her interaction, she uses less than 200 words in a day with her child. Whereas if all these things are not there, then it goes up to 1,000 words of communication with the child. So which is better? It's for the mothers to choose. Second thing, it depends on the age of the child. So under 2, nothing. 2 to 5 years or up to 6 years, it should be less than 1 hour. And the quality, what they watch, it has to be, the content has to be monitored by parents. It has to be seen. And as Dr. Dimitri was saying, it shouldn't be something that there are too many, it shouldn't be fast moving. Like there are too many scene changes in 1 second. So that's a fast moving one that causes inattention problems in children later on in life. So it can be some slow paced one and an educational one. Now, if the child is more than 6 years and up to 12 years, now that depends on the parent and the child. Again, I have seen some households who totally take off the cable, totally. So there is no TV, nothing at all. And in case they need to do some research for their homeworks, they can have some internet time. But that too, most of the projects should be done in schools, since there should be still on chart papers and such things, and models have to be made and not on computers as much as possible. But now still some research might be required. So for that, the parents can give. But if they cannot restrict that, then it depends. I mean, the parent, if child has asked this question, I would say the child should engage in certain hobbies and leave off the screen time. Maybe once a week should be sufficient. But if a parent is asking, and even still, I would say that only because this is indispensable. You will see that life is so much more beautiful. Nature is so much more beautiful. But if we get hooked on to screens, then we don't see all these things. Our head gets filled up with all nonsense only. So I think it's a high time to shut those things and not see TV as entertainment, not, children, because if we see TV as entertainment, children also see TV as entertainment. Rather than that as entertainment, why not go for a walk in the park? Why not enjoy the morning sunrise? All these things. Or why not watch a small earthworm crawling, or how the caterpillar crawls, how the ants move in a line. All this is so fascinating. So let us turn our attention to these things. Once we get hooked on to TV as entertainment, then it's difficult to unhook and difficult to let children know the joys of nature. These are their formative years. Even if they're 8, 9, 10, if you engage them, in other things, they will come to you because they find you more interesting. Your talk is going to be more interesting than that TV. But if you don't talk to them, if you are busy doing a chores or TV, then they cannot have good interaction time with you. Then they get on, to take care of their boredom, they may go back to the TV. So I would say, don't use it at all unless, even mobile phones not required for children.
Yes, I can add one thing
once in a
here.
week, they can have phone calls with their grandparents or friends. And the phone calls don't need to see the screen. You can have audio also. So you need not do video chat. If the father is in a different country, then you can have a video chat because you need to see father once in a while, but otherwise friends and relatives, you can always call. You need not use a smart screen because that is my recommendation. Even teaching or education content should be restricted, teach them in other ways, because playing and learning through a board game, there's so many other things they learn. This TV smart phones are always one-sided. So there is no interaction, no improvement in language. You don't see the face of other person. You don't see whether they're happy, they're sad. These are important things in communication. When you interact, what is the reaction other person is facing to what I'm saying? All these things cannot be made out when they are hooked onto computers. So everything cannot be learned through a screen. This is what, because many parents think, why should I send my child to school? I'll play ABC on the screen and then he will learn everything, or she will learn. That doesn't happen. I mean, it may happen, he'll learn ABC, but he'll or she will miss out a major, their communication won't get developed, their language won't get developed. There's so many things which they will lack. Problem solving skills won't develop. How to deal with and interact with an adult won't develop. There's so many things which don't develop. It's important. If teachers cannot interact, parents should interact. Somebody should interact. So this is my answer.
Yes, ma'am. I can add one thing here. I've seen many parents when they are traveling, they try to give the phone to the child, and the child misses out so many things on the road, like the wonderful nature, maybe, or maybe the roads, maybe the areas. They just stick on to the mobiles. It's a nice thing which you actually told, that tech-free zone, no net zones. I love that. I hope that is more.
Yeah, traveling is an important time where, you know, parents should keep their mobiles off, and children also should not be given mobiles, where they can talk to each other, interact with each other, get to know each other, and they can also educate them on the way road. Look at this and look at that, you know, how the houses are, how the scenery changes, how the trees, the short ones, the long ones, the tall ones, what kind of crops grow. And there's so many things about nature and outside world to learn. Or they can have a spell game in the car, you know, spelling game. There's so many games which can be played in the car.
Yes, ma'am. I Spy is
Time
one of
should
the games.
not be spent. This mobile smartphones have got a change in our lives, some for good and some for bad. We should try to not to get stuck, and you know, children should not be a victim of their bad effects.
Yes.
So we should take care of that.
We have got one more question for Dr. Vinuta.
Yeah.
Please suggest some superfood or some exercise to improve eyesight for children and adults.
Come again?
Um,
Please
Please
suggest.
suggest some
Okay.
superfoods or
Okay.
some exercise to
Okay.
improve eyesight for children
Okay.
and adults.
Okay. Firstly, coming to food, I think now most of the parents, moms especially, are at home, and they can definitely try many things. So coming to eye, so basically vitamin A, as we all know, is a must for good eye health and eye nutrition. So vitamin A rich foods such as starting from milk, egg, green leafy vegetables, carrots, all such foods are rich in vitamin A, and yes, these can be definitely a lot of help, especially in the growing age period. So food intake and nutrition, eye health in elderly or in adult is not that much, is not that much related, or because most of the growth of the eye has occurred in the young teenage, by the teenage, so it is very less likely that food will affect the overall health of the eye in adult age. Yes, in kids, definitely any vitamin A rich foods should be encouraged, especially carrots, green leafy vegetables, it may be, and egg, milk, etc. All these things can be included in most of their meals so that their child gets the most of the nutrition. So apart from that, eye exercises, as I previously mentioned, that the eye must, there are some muscles in the eye. There are, as the eye is so small, so there are tiny muscles also inside the eye. So these muscles are constantly working, especially the eye, whenever the eye movements is there. So whenever the kid is staring at the screen or something, as I told, there is increased eye strain. So there are various eye exercises. So ask a kid or an adult also, so to have a complete eye movements. May you can show them a finger and take it to the as far as the child can see. So take it in all the 8 directions. First, ask a kid to look into the finger and encourage the kid to see periphery in all the 4 directions like this, and in the 4 directions like this. So all the eye movements in extreme, we call this as 8 gazes. So in extreme gazes, the kid should be encouraged to look from the center point. So I'll tell you one interesting thing. There is something called as Sataka yoga also. So it is a part of a yoga which helps in giving eye health, which helps in improving eye muscles and encourage eye health. So in those, and it is scientifically proved that regularly doing these eye exercises is known to cause less eye strain. So this is also a part of yoga, which you can actually teach kids from the beginning of their age. And along with this, so there is something called as conversion exercises. So these we usually encourage for the kids especially when they have a conversion insufficiency. We call something called as conversion insufficiency. They do not have actually any refractive power or any power in the eye, but they find difficulty whenever they are reading, or they cannot read for a long time. So this we call it as convergence insufficiency. So in them we can encourage they can practice. The parents can help the kid in practicing at home. They have to get one target. We call it as a target. So this could be a finger, or more better ones with any toy, with a small toy. So ask the kid to look far. So as far as you can take your finger, so that far, maybe so that one, and they have to concentrate on that finger. Then suddenly get it to your nose, as close to your eyes. So these movements should be continuous, around 10 counts, maybe 10 counts. So like this, they can do some 3 to 4 sessions. This will improve the convergence of the eye muscles. So it will help kid or adults also, whoever has conversion insufficiency, to increase their ability to see to the near. So as I told, these people will have difficulty maintaining their near vision to as near work, or wherever the target comes to the eyes. So these exercises will improve this convergence efficiency. So these are few exercises which can be done at home. So this can be taught to your kids as well. So also apart from this, complete closure of eyes, as I mentioned, so frequently this could help in improving your eye health.
Yeah, there's one more question. Somebody has asked, as I live with my in-laws, there are 5 adults and my kid is the only child. But I'm the only one who has to work around, as there is no maid. I have to cook 3 to 4 meals a day plus other work, and I get no help from in-laws or husband. By the time I finish, it will be afternoon, and then the kid watches mobile or TV. After lunch, I must have a little rest time, and that too he watches the mobile. What should I do? So here I have a suggestion for this parent. Obviously the child is not school going and is small. Keep your child in the kitchen. See that the kitchen is child safe. The bottom, put a nice clean mat. Keep all your kitchen stuff on the counter so that the child is safe, and give him some toys to play with. Now the toys can be puzzles, they can be building blocks, they can be anything, they can be anything of this kind. Even the kitchen things, like pouring, if you have a glass and a bowl, glass is a steel tumbler and a steel bowl, and put little water and he has to pour it back, or with a spoon he has to transfer from one to another. Or you can give him sorting of grains like rajma and chana and all these things. If he sorts, that sorting ability improves the logical thinking. And then he can do sequencing also. Sequencing is he can arrange in a pattern. 2 rajma, 1 chana grain, 2 rajma, 1 chana. Ask him to do that sequence in one line. Then change the sequence. Like 3 rajma and 1 chana, 3 rajma, 1 chana, 3 rajma, 1 chana. What comes next? Arrange it. That way. Just keep looking and give him these chores, and give him or her these chores. Also, there's so many other things, even grating activity they can do that improves their fine motor skills. Their fingers will improve. And there's so many other things we can do in the kitchen with the child. So, but see that the child is in a safe place in the kitchen with you, and put a nice clean mat for them to sit, and you can engage in these things. Do not give your mobile. When you rest, let him also rest. And when you get up and do your chores, you can also give him a book or read from a book, or you can just, when you're doing your chores, tell a story also to the kid. Look at him, tell a story, and you can ask him to continue what happens to the story. There's so many things depending on the age of the child. So because, check with your parents and grandparents what they would do, because they were born in an age where there was not much of a mobile or TV, and they still managed their children. So you get a lot of ideas more than this.
Yeah, make them your little helpers. That would help the
Engage
child not to go and
the
sit in
small
front of
chores
screen.
also, because they can help you out. Again, that will improve their muscles, you know. Small thing
Yeah.
like wiping, cleaning the floor with the cloth, you know, putting
Stacking the
cleaning
cups.
cup, stacking cups. All these things will improve. And counting the cups, counting spoons. Let him count the
Yes.
spoons. That will improve the arithmetic and mathematical ability. You can keep listening. If they made a mistake, you can correct them.
Yes.
You know, if
And
they're
don't
older,
forget to reward them. Like last session, what we said, don't forget to reward. When they finish, please reward.
reward them with a high five, a hug, and a kiss.
Yes.
That's reward.
So we have got one more question. There is a short video explaining homophones to children in a sing-long manner. Do you think we should start with such videos before they start working on it, or do the videos after explaining the homophones? So I think this is basically the parent is trying to do the academics help with the help of some videos.
Yeah. Use that if you must, but there are homophone cards also. You can buy them in the stores, or if you need not buy, you can make them with chart paper also. So that is a good way. But then this requires more work. So nowadays we think of shortening our work. So one important thing I must say that, you know, keep some time for your kids. The more time you're going to spend or give your kids, the better they are going to be. If we have jobs, we may have house jobs, we may have outside jobs, but keep that this is the time for these jobs, and beyond this, you know, because the job sucks you up. Job is house jobs are like that. Yeah, you know, it will just suck you. The kitchen work will just suck you in. You just think that I'll make only these and that's it, and that's what I'm going to make, and you people can tell this is what I'm going to make and not beyond this. You know, you can keep that limit, and sometime I'm going to spend with the child, playing with my child, helping him, teaching him. But of course now, in case, you know, you have to play this homophone video, you can explain to them beforehand what is a homophone, and then the child can see, they will have a better understanding. But I recommend the cards are going to be a better way. Better way than this. Provided you know what is homophone, that is also important, because we shouldn't teach wrong things.
So short time we can have the video, but better go to the other teaching methods, right, ma'am?
The teaching methods are definitely more recommended. Actually, I told in very brief the ill effects of screen time, but in developmental years, they are too much. And we see there are so many children suffering from differences. I mean, language is slow nowadays. Children pick up language slow, speech is slow. It's all because of these gadgets, I believe. I think we have to take it seriously and just engage your child more, rather than handing him a TV and reducing your work. Don't think of reducing your work. That's an important point.
So, ma'am, we have got a parent here who wants to ask you personally question. It's Mrs. Nirmala. You can go ahead and ask your question, please. I think you're mute, Mrs. Nirmala. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm fine. Hello, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mrs. Nirmala.
Good evening. Very thankful to you, especially very thankful to you to doing such informative sessions. I'm very happy with so many, too much informative sessions you're doing. Very thankful to you. My question is here. How does screen time affect on child's behavior and brain development? Because nowadays my daughter's online classes is going on 4 hours and beyond that. So that I'm asking this question: how does screen time affect on child's behavior and brain development?
Yeah. So how old is your child, Nirmala?
6th standard, ma'am. She is 11 years.
11 years. 11 years.
Yes.
Yeah. See, under 6 years is a crucial stage where brain grows maximally, and brain needs good stimulus, and it should not be only one kind like the screen time, the TV or the mobile. Though it's informative, children do learn a lot of things from that also. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But then there is a flop side also, which I told, language development gets delayed, motor development gets delayed, all these get. But beyond that age, children can watch, but depending on the content of the program. Like if they watch violent programs, they can be predisposed to violence, or they might have adjustment problems at school because of watching too much of screen time, because there's less interaction with other adults or other children. So that can impact in that ways. Or they can have attention deficit disorder, or they can even have obesity because they sit and watch TV and do not play outside. So these are some of the things which older children can face because of increased screen time. And depending on if they're seeing the internet and other things, then cyberbullying, and there's so many things about it. Children can be victims of sexual predators, online predators, such things and all. We have to watch. But if it is online classes now, it is a special time. We have to all understand it's not the normal times. So because of this corona, all of us are mostly homebound. We cannot go out. Children cannot go out to play much. They cannot go to parks. So this is a difficult time, and it is a special time. And still studies have to go on because otherwise academics has to go on, because it's a must. That is also very essential for kids' growth and development. So schools, though whether it is good or bad, they have resorted to online classes. Online classes at this age are okay, but as Dr. Vinuta has told, you have to take care, like after 20 minutes, we have to take care of the eyes first, child's eyes, like after 20 minutes, because they constantly stare at the screen. They have to close their eyes, keep for 20 seconds, or watch a tree far off. So keep in such a way there is some greenery also, or a plant, they can watch something which is far off and then near again. And every day make them do the eye exercises. Dr. Vinta has told how to protect the eyes, because sometimes watching this TV too much, eyes can get some power. But she told there are no studies on that, conclusive studies. But we have seen this exercise of watching near and far, and eye rotation helps a lot. So these have to be taken care. Online classes are there for 4 hours. The content, I'm sure, is educational content, so we need not worry about that. So online classes are good, and they will, I hope it is interactive, because interactive is very good thing. If it is one way, sometimes teachers can't help, schools can't help. It might be one way also, because they cannot make it interactive. But generally they might keep a question and answer session at the end where child can interact, and it will be good. So other than these 4 hours, we have to see that child is away from the screen. Should not watch some entertainment programs. So suddenly you can't say from today there is no entertainment program. If our child has been watching 4 hours a day entertainment program, rest 4 hours, we cannot say nothing. You reduce it to 3 hours, reduce it to, if 3 hours they are watching, reduce it to 2 hours. If they are watching 2 hours, make it 1 hour. If they are watching 1 hour, make it half an hour. If they are watching half an hour, you can say weekends we can watch, but it is important to keep them engaged and entertained. So initially you can give them ideas how to keep them, because you cannot play always with them. The kid,
It's 7
your kid
o'clock.
is 11 years old, and you cannot play always. Sometimes some board game they can play with their dad sometimes. But rest of the things, like they can do some other things, like give them, some homeworks can be there that they can do. And then they can attend, practice music, or you can teach them yoga, or a little bit of dance time. Or, there are stories which are in audio that can be told, because that improves their listening skills also. Or reading a book, storybook can be their hobby. They can develop all these things, because after reading the story, they can have a discussion with you. While reading the story, they need not trouble you. But after the story, you can ask, what was the gist of the story? What did you learn from the story? Was it good? Did you like it? Who is the best character? All these questions. This helps them to, start their thinking ability to develop. it develops their creativity, it develops their imagination. TV doesn't develop that much all these things, but these things, interactions, reading stories, reading a book, it need not be a story book. It can be a general knowledge book with pictures, lot of pictures, and some words also. 11 years old can read both. So if they're pictures and, written matter, text, they will like it. So you can have such varied things and they can tell you these things. So they love interacting with parents actually. So, but parents have to give time. But if the parents don't give them time, then they go to TV. This is most commonly observed. So reduce the TV time, so that, because online classes are also screen time, this is also screen time. So it's better to reduce the TV time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mrs. Nirmala.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
We have got few questions related to the situation right now. I'll ask one of the question which answers most of the questions here. Me and my husband are working both. So during this corona, kids are at home, no domestic help, no mates to cook. How to spend the whole day and keep them engaged? So the parents are ending up giving TV time at that time. So how do you say they can adjust this time?
Yeah, that's what I am sure the kids are young kids, because older kids online classes have started. So they're less than fifth standard. So this online classes haven't started, and the kids are free, and parents don't know. Parents get busy. One of the things is you can involve them in the daily chores, like they can help you people do cook and do some things. And then, as I said in the earlier question, if they're too young in the kitchen, only give a mat and give them some blocks, or give them grating job. They can grate a carrot, they can grate cheese, or they can transfer water from one with a spoon from one bowl to another. This improves fine motor skills. This is not nonsense. You should understand that these things are helpful for the child. And then even the clothespin, the cloth clips are there, no? Putting that and removing, arranging, give a cardboard or something, and they have to pin it neatly. Ask them to put 5 colors in one side and the 5 colors in another side, and so they will count and they will know colors are different. They can show you, then you can say, no, it is this is, you have made, this is red and you have put blue here, and that way. So colors concept also they will get to know. They will know the numbers also. There are multiple things that can be done. From the school side, maybe we will keep giving you activities and ideas how to engage the kids, so that will help you out. So in spite of your chores, you can do this. Initially, the kids may trouble you that they want to watch TV, but slowly they will get interested in these things, especially when you start interacting and giving them these things to do and appreciating them. Slowly they'll get weaned away from TV and the screen, and that will be a good idea. Later on, they can have story time with the father at night, and before that with grandmother or grandfather, you can engage them in some socialization time, asking how was the day. Grandparents might like to talk about their days of old, or they might tell them a nice funny story. In that way they can interact. Or they can call up, because calling up over only audio part is not considered screen time. So they can call up their friends, call up parents. This is part of socialization which they are missing now. So that also, calling up grandparents if they are away, or uncles and aunts, what they are doing, help them to converse, because children don't know how to converse. Small young children don't know how to initiate a conversation. We need to help out while doing our chore. We can guide them what to do. Only thing is, I realize that you people need ideas, so we will give more on our school site. I think
Yes, we have got a lot of activities going on.
WhatsApp. We'll send you more activities so that you'll get a lot of ideas. You can definitely engage them nicely without using the TV. There are definitely a lot of ideas here.
Yes, yes. A lot of activities are already going on. Our well-trained teachers are putting up a lot of effort to give activities which can be done by the child at this situation, not buying much stuff, just with the household things. So just stay tuned with our school, and you will get a lot of ideas there too, how to keep them engaged. There's one more question which can be taken by any of the doctors. I mean, um, my son has power. If he watches more than 1 hour TV, will it be harmful for him?
More than
1 hour.
1 hour tea. And he's how old is he?
I think the child is around 3 years.
Yeah, that's what just now in my presentation I have
So
told.
the parent is saying the child is third grade.
Third grade.
Third standard, yes.
Third grade, 1 hour TV is supposed to be okay. At least for the eyes, I'm not sure Dr. Vinta must say, but it won't hamper initial development because it would have occurred already by 6-7 years of age. Initially, there's a spurt of development where child picks up language, where cognitive development takes place, arithmetic development takes place, all these take place. Inattention problems are seen more in early childhood. Third grade, it should be fine. 1 hour per day is fine. Dr. Vinita should say from the eye point of view.
From eye point of view, I would like to tell that, yeah, 1 hour is definitely, it's not a big harm to eyes. As long as I told, they should keep at minimum distance and with frequent blinking, it should not be an issue. But since the parent is already telling that a kid has a refractive error, in these especially growing age, it would be definitely there is more chances that the refractive error is increasing in little faster period. So at least once a year or so, regular checkup should be must. Or sometimes they will be somehow adjusted, or they will adapt to whatever the glass they are wearing, and they don't want to go for the test or something like that. So they'll be compromised. They'll be using all these gadgets with a compromised vision. So there is where the most of the problems arise. So if they are wearing any faulty spectacles, that is the number has increased. And if the kid is wearing some incorrect class prescription number, or it is using the older one, then definitely it is going to cause increased eye strain and muscle imbalance. So in this condition, I think 1 hour is it's okay, not a big issue, but frequent or a regular eye checkup should be always encouraged.
Another thing is content of what they watch is very important during this age. 1 hour of TV is okay, screen time wise, but please monitor the content of what they are watching. There should not be too much of violence or screen changes. What just now I have told, Dr. Dimitri Krishnov had told, I had put a video. So that causes again a little hyperactivity and inattention. So just ensure the content is something good and something child learns from.
Our next question is something little related to the same, ma'am. The parent is saying the child loves to watch cartoon, but most of the cartoons are little inappropriate nowadays. So what would you suggest? Your answer continues to this question now.
Yeah, this because I had earlier
Too much into cartoon.
Yeah, this is a difficult proposition. I agree to their dilemmas because as we go on, you know, the cartoon, we have seen that the movies, the cartoons, you know, the content is more violent, more aggressive, and sometimes little inappropriate also for young kids. If you can, you have to try to see, I mean, check out cartoons which are good also, because for their age, which may be better, and from which they can learn some things, but you will have to really search for these things. But I'm sure you will find some of these cartoons which are there. This is in a TV channel, or I think, is it Netflix, or what are they talking? I'm not sure.
There is no specification, but yes, even I have seen that most of the cartoons, either verbally they are inappropriate or videography is inappropriate, like not to the age. This one, we can't comment on that part, I think.
But sometimes if we cannot help, maybe try to, as once Mrs. Shakila had told, that we can encourage them to watch Discovery channels or National Geographic and get interested. As I see, I'll watch your cartoon for a while, but then you watch National Geographic with me, Nat Geo with me, and then show him different things and how the animals behave and all these things, so that slowly child gets interested in these things, and just say what's there in the cartoon. I mean, just see, this is so much more interesting, and slowly you have to pull the child. When you show interest, children automatically will start showing interest, and when you explain the things what they tell, they will get interested, and put the interesting channels in that, Nat Geo and Discovery. So the child gets interested in these things rather than the cartoons. Cartoons is not a very good
And while choosing in those channels also, they can choose some of the programs which are like Amazing 10. In Animal Channel, it comes Amazing 10. It shows different kind of animals which are like top 10 or a food factory, how the food is produced, how it is made. So when you choose a program which is not like a documentary or goes on with a history, I think children will be interested to watch with you.
And there are so many books also, I would like to say, for children. Some horrible facts, something was there for actually kids of 6-7 years of age. You can read that to them. They're very nice things for children. They're good
Few
books.
pictures, maybe they'll be interested to see those pictures in fact.
Yeah, but rather than cartoon, you can put these channels. They are educative and good for children, and interesting too. It shouldn't be like documentary and boring. Then
Yes.
that doesn't
Because
come as
most of the time
entertainment.
when we say Net Geo or Animal Channel, children tend to think that, oh, that's boring because all the documentaries come there. No, you have to search for those programs. There are many programs related to children.
Good programs.
Programs are there, and Amazing 10, and a lot of other programs are there which we can choose for children. So we have got a lot of questions pouring in. I think I'll take a last one now, which is like, can we choose some cartoons which doesn't have communication with no words, like Mr. Bean, Teletubbies? Will it affect my child's speech?
With no language.
Yes. Mr. Bean, Teletubbies, that's what the parent is asking. Will it affect the child's speech?
See, as long as the parent is speaking a lot with the child, it's not going to affect your child's speech.
When I had the same thing in my mind. Since we are saying the TV time should be reduced,
Yeah.
I think speech may not be a problem when it comes to TV.
Under 6 years, of course, if they listen to more words, their speech is improving. If they interact with you, it will be even better. But Teletubbies and Mr. Bean have a different thing in themselves. They're a different league, and Teletubbies is quite educational too. In some of the things, they have themes. They take the themes and educate. Once in a way, it should be okay to watch these things. But the focus of this program is avoid screen time as much as possible. Use it for educational purposes if you have to, and if as a last resort, keep it as entertainment. Please keep that in mind first. Language, again, if they're under 6, it's best that you interact a lot with them. You talk to them a lot, then their language won't get affected irrespective of what they watch. But keep the time restricted. It shouldn't be more than 1 hour. The ones with language might be a shade better.
So speech, when we talk, I think TV is not going to affect much, and keep it less time. There are many questions coming in, ma'am. I would like to say that these questions will be taken in our subsequent sessions. As we are running out of time now, we would like to start winding up the session. Ma'am, would you like to add up anything else?
Yeah, we had to deal with one more topic, that is common problems my child is lying. But if we are, since we are short of time, we can take it the next time. Is what I feel. And all the unanswered questions, we will try to answer them the next time again.
Yes.
So, next.
The line, my child lies, this part we'll be taking the next session. And I think we have got few questions also related to that. So those questions also will be handled in the next session. Please do join us so that you will be answered in the next session. And please do give your feedback, valuable feedback. The next session's topic for Tuesday, June 30th is My Child is Lying, What to Do? Building Child's Self-Esteem. This is a very interesting topic. Join us and get benefits out of it. If you like our program, don't forget to subscribe us on YouTube. Click on the bell icon, share it with your friends, and keep sending your queries to us on WhatsApp or YouTube. Recordings of the previous sessions are in our channel. If you subscribe, you'll be getting all the previous sessions and the session coming up sessions. All these will be there in the YouTube. This I also thank everyone with us who have joined in Facebook and YouTube. All the smart pairing sessions are available in the YouTube. Every Tuesday, we'll be joining here at 6 o'clock. Join us with your friends. And thank you, Mrs. Dr. Vinuta ma'am and Dr. Kirtana ma'am. Stay home, stay connected, stay safe. God bless us all. Thank you, parents.
Thank you.